When I first moved to Lakeside Pines, I thought I'd finally found peace. After 30 years as a diplomatic officer, I wanted quiet, somewhere to start over after my wife passed. The community brochure promised safety, order, and serenity behind guarded gates. At first, it seemed perfect. The lawns trimmed with military precision. The lake sparkling under the morning sun. Every neighbor smiled, but their eyes measured you, making sure you belonged. The HOA called it community standards. I called it control wrapped in politeness. Rules about curtain colors, lawn watering schedules, even how warm your porch light could be. Still, I told myself it was worth it. Safe, predictable, peaceful. I didn't realize peace here came with a hidden cost, one enforced by people who mistook authority for power and power for a weapon. 3 months after moving in, my daughter, Amy, called. She'd just returned from a 2-year international counterterrorism assignment. At 26, she was already a tactical commander for the FBI, sharp, disciplined, and fearless. "Dad," she said over the phone, "I'm coming home for a few weeks. I just need normal for a while." Hearing that made me smile. Normal. After the life she'd lived, she deserved it. I spent the day preparing the guest room, buying her favorite tea, trying to make the house feel like home. She had seen real danger, raids, hostage rescues, high-risk missions. So the last thing I expected was for her to face a gun, not overseas, but right here in the neighborhood that promised safety. That night, as the clock neared 10, I had no idea how quickly peaceful was about to turn into terrifying. Her flight was delayed, so when she finally arrived, the streets were quiet. She texted me at the gate, "Here. Can't get in." I realized I'd forgotten to inform security about her visit, an oversight I thought would be fixed with a quick call. But before I could even dial, I heard shouting outside. When I opened the door, my heart froze. Under the yellow porch light, a man stood with his gun drawn, aimed directly at my daughter's face. "Get on the ground." Now he barked. It wasn't a criminal. It was Curtis Wilson, the HOA's head of security. A former cop with a reputation for discipline. Amy didn't flinch. Her hands were visible, her eyes locked on him with perfect control. "Sir, I live here." "I'm showing you my ID," she said calmly. He sneered. "I don't care who you are. You don't have clearance." "Curtis," I shouted, stepping outside. "That's my daughter." He hesitated, gun still raised. My pulse hammered in my ears. Amy spoke again, voice low but cutting. "Pointing a firearm at a federal officer without cause is a felony." The color drained from his face. He lowered the gun, but the damage was done. As he stalked off, Amy turned to me, calm as ever. "Dad," she said quietly, "that man just made a very big mistake." The next morning, a knock came at our door. Robert Thompson, the HOA president, stood there with his wife, Sarah. He wore a fake smile and khaki arrogance. "Mr. Johnson," he said smoothly, "we understand there was an unfortunate misunderstanding last night." "Unfortunate?" I snapped. "Your guard aimed a loaded weapon at my daughter's head." He didn't blink. "Our security team follows strict protocols. Had you properly registered her visit?" Amy stepped in. Calm. Professional. "Mr. Thompson, I'd be very interested to review your security licensing records." Robert's smile faltered for the first time. His wife tugged his arm. "Let's go," she hissed. As they left, Amy turned to me. "This isn't just one man with a gun, Dad. It's a system built on fear." Her voice carried quiet certainty. "I've seen dictators with less control than these people." And that's when I realized my daughter wasn't just visiting. She was about to expose something much bigger. Amy spent the next few days doing what she did best, observing. She talked to neighbors, read the HOA's bylaws, dug through public records that most people didn't even know existed. What she found was worse than either of us imagined. The security company hired by the HOA registered to Robert Thompson's brother-in-law. The guards? Unlicensed, overpaid, and the HOA fees? Among the highest in the state with zero transparency. She met Jessica, a board member quietly frustrated with the leadership, and Linda, an older neighbor too, scared to speak up. They told stories of intimidation, people fined for the wrong flower color or banned from community events for questioning rules. One night, over cold tea and warm frustration, Amy said something that stuck with me. Sometimes the real corruption doesn't happen in dark alleys. It happens under perfect streetlights. And from that moment, her mission was clear. She wasn't just my daughter anymore. She was the storm Lakeside Pines didn't see coming. The HOA struck back fast. Within days, we received 5 violation notices. Our trash can was too visible. Our flag improperly lit. Even the tone of our porch light was non-compliant. Curtis began parking his security truck across from our house. Engine idling, headlights on. An intimidation tactic straight from a bad cop's playbook. Amy didn't react. She installed hidden cameras instead. Let them play, she said. Every move they make builds our case. And sure enough, 2 nights later, those cameras caught Curtis sneaking into our yard at 3 a.m., measuring grass, taking photos, and spray painting an insult on our fence. I was furious. Amy was calm. This is evidence, she said, her voice steady. They just handed us the match that'll burn down their lies. The hunter didn't know it yet, but he'd just become the hunted. The annual HOA meeting was packed. Dozens of residents, many fed up, many afraid, filled the room. Robert sat up front with Sarah and Curtis beside him, acting like royalty on a plastic throne. I raised my hand. Before we vote on new bylaws, I have a question about last year's finances. Robert's smile tightened. All records are reviewed internally. Then you won't mind if we review them together. I placed a folder on the table. Amy and Jessica began distributing copies, financial documents, contracts, payment trails. Gasps filled the room as I explained. The security company is owned by Sarah's brother. Over $300,000 marked for infrastructure vanished. And this man, I pointed to Curtis, has no valid firearm license. Robert stood, shouting, "These accusations are lies." Curtis stepped forward, furious. Amy connected her phone to the projector. The footage appeared. Curtis, gun raised to her face that night. Then later, trespassing, vandalizing. The room exploded in shock. Curtis lunged toward me, rage overtaking reason. Before anyone could blink, Amy moved. 3 swift motions. His wrist twisted, his weapon disarmed, his body pinned. "Stay down," she ordered. Gasps turned to applause as police officers entered, arresting Curtis on the spot. And standing near the door, a familiar face appeared. Special Agent Marcus Reed from the FBI. "Robert Thompson," he said calmly, "you'll need to come with us. We have questions about those offshore transfers." The room went silent. And just like that, the kings of Lakeside Pines were dethroned by the people they tried to control. In the weeks that followed, everything changed. Robert was charged with fraud and embezzlement. Curtis faced multiple counts of assault and illegal firearm possession. Sarah sold her house and vanished quietly. Jessica became the new HOA president. Linda the vice president. The ridiculous rules disappeared, replaced by transparency and trust. For the first time, Lakeside Pines felt like a community, not a prison with lawns. Neighbors waved genuinely now. People smiled and meant it. One evening, Amy and I sat on the porch, watching the sunset glow across the lake. She turned to me and said softly, "You know, Dad, sometimes the strongest weapon isn't force, it's strategy." And she was right. She hadn't just won a fight. She'd restored balance to an entire neighborhood. Power without accountability is just fear in disguise. Curtis thought a gun gave him control. Robert thought rules made him untouchable. But real power? That comes from courage, truth, and knowing your rights. Not all heroes wear badges or capes. Some just stand tall when injustice knocks on their door.